Hey, what is going on, Guardians? My name is the Black Link, and it's finally time. Update 1.2.0, the one about Warmind, has launched. The game's not up quite yet, but we have gotten our hands on some patch notes to go through and see all of the things that are going to be changing in the world of Warmind. So before that update goes live, I'm going to go ahead and record this thing so I can just jump onto the game as soon as the servers come back up. Now, in this video, we're just going to be covering patch notes here, so it's probably going to be a little bit on the boring side. You might want to put this up in the background and listen to it kind of like a podcast or something. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. Let's take a look at the patch notes here. There we go, Warmind launch. Warmind is now available and Season 3 has begun. Player character changes. In general, players who own Warmind may now reach level 30 and power level 385. That's right, they're bumping up the EXP level to 30 and the power level is going to be at a max of 380, 385 with mods. Good luck getting there before the raid comes out. Next up, emotes. The multi-emote wheel is now available, and players can now configure all 4 emote options with player-selected emotes. Emotes are now stored on the multi-emote page of the character inventory, and the emote collection has been removed from the vault, as emotes are now stored on the character. This is awesome, so if you've got emotes stocked up in your vault, you can actually get rid of some of those now. Or actually, I guess they've gotten rid of them for you, so it should free up a little bit of extra vault space. You're also getting 100 extra points of vault space within this update, so either way, you're going to have more places to shove your gear. Moving on to Sandbox changes. This is the big stuff. Abilities. Additional grenade charges granted by some subclass trees or exotic perks now charge at the same rate as the primary grenade. Was considerably slower, so we're getting a bit of a buff to grenade recharge rate on some of these subclass trees. Neat. Exotic weapons in general. They've implemented exotic masterwork weapons. Of course, we know that system's coming into place with 1.2.0. Now let's check out some of these specific stuff. For kinetic weapons, we've got the Sweet Business. They've increased the ammo gained when players pick up kinetic ammo. That's cool. And of course, they've increased the ammo inventory. They bumped it up to 999 rounds in reserve. You're going to be firing this thing literally forever. For the Vigilance Wing, recovery is set to maximum while the Last Stand perk is active. That's cool, especially helpful for you hunters out there in PvP. The Last Stand perk, of course, activates when your teammates take a big L and die. You get enhanced healing, so now that's going to set your recovery to maximum. For the Jade Rabbit, we've got plus 20 stability. For the Rat King, they've enhanced the total stat benefits of running with a pack. That's the perk where, the more people in your fire team who are using Rat King, the stronger it gets. The benefits are now front-loaded. There are now larger damage benefits when 2 people equip the exotic, with slight damage increases for each additional player. Beforehand, you got very slight increases until you had like a full group of 6 people all using Rat King. So basically, you're going to get more of a benefit at first from adding 1 person with a Rat King, 2 people with a Rat King, and then it's going to sequentially lessen from that point on. The Rat Pack perk can now activate and stack while Rat King is stowed. They've added HUD notification text for when the Rat Pack perk is active. They've increased the ammo inventory, and they've added full auto. We got to see a great clip of this, of the new Rat King just schmeating on a bunch of different Cabal enemies over on the Dreadnought. Awesome. Now, the Crimson. Good, this needs some changes. They've refined the damage, rate of fire, and recovery time between bursts, and they've increased the overall ammo inventory. Running out of ammo on Crimson is a huge problem with that gun. My one really big problem with the weapon, so I'm glad they're giving us a bit more ammo to work with. Alright, the Sturm and Drawn. For the Sturm, they've increased the base stability stat. The overcharge round from Drawn now deal 80% additional bonus damage. They've added HUD status notification and visual feedback for when the magazine is overcharged. And for the Drawn, kills with Drawn reload Sturm and add 1 overcharged round even if Sturm's magazine is not full. They've also increased the magazine size, and it has the Rampage perk. That's an awesome upgrade for the sidearm Drawn. And of course, we've seen the Sturm and the Drawn combination. It's going to be able to 2-tap people in the Crucible now, so you might actually want to whip that thing out and give it a shot in PvP, or go complete the quest to get it if you haven't done that. That's it for the kinetic weapons. Let's take a look at some of the energy weapon changes. First up, Hardlight can now be manually reloaded to change the damage type. That's the Borealis ability, which is the PlayStation exclusive exotic sniper rifle. If you hold the reload key, it'll automatically swap elements. Now hits after its round bounce now deal double damage. We know the ricochet shots are getting a boost. That's a pretty big one. With the Graviton Lance, it now fires a 2-round burst. It's got increased stability, They've reduced recoil on its final round in a burst. The Cosmology Explosion now deals more damage. The Cosmology Explosion now spawns secondary void projectiles, kind of like the Outbreak Prime back in Destiny 1 whenever you got precision kills. Enemies eliminated float up and back, detonating closer to their death locations. That was a huge problem with the Graviton Lance before. It kind of fired enemies straight back like a ragdoll, and they would blow up, but they would oftentimes be way too far away from the rest of the groups of enemies that they were stacked with, so it really wouldn't do anything. Glad they made that change. They've also improved the aim assist on it. Not a bad pack of changes for the Graviton Lance. Can't wait to try that out. For Skyburner's Oath, they've given it plus 10 aim assist, plus 30 increased handling. It now has the explosive payload perk. Hipfire now lobs slower moving projectiles while tracking, so it's kind of like a grenade launcher in the sky. You know, you can just hipfire people, it'll track towards the center mass of their body and explode. Really cool changes. For Risk Runner, we know this is getting some big stuff. It now deals more damage while Arc Conductor is active. They've enhanced the arc damage resistance to 50% while Arc Conductor is active and Risk Runner is in the player's hands. And arc damage resistance is now enabled against Guardians in the Crucible. That's a big change from the way Risk Runner was before. You gotta make sure you're playing careful. If you see somebody with a Risk Runner, might want to put away the arc weapons now. Arc Conductor can be activated while the weapon is stowed, and they've added Arc FX to the player while Arc Conductor is active. I guess so that you can get a better idea when people are utilizing Risk Runner, so you know not to use Arc against them. If they're running up to you, they've got a submachine gun, and there's Arc energy going around them like they're Super Saiyan 2, maybe put that Arc weapon away. Alright, the Sunshot. They've only got one change for the Sunshot, but I'm hoping it's a significant one. They've increased damage and radius of the kill explosion. Sunshot was already a really strong performer in PvE, especially in my opinion, but giving it bigger Firefly effect, I'll take that. Next up, we've got Coldheart. Damage now ramps up faster. They've reduced incoming flinch, and they've increased the precision modifier to 1.4x, was 1.05x. Ooh, increased precision modifier. That means you're going to be dealing even more damage to Callus. Plus, it's going to ramp up to max damage even faster. That's just making this thing a DPS monster against those bosses that like to sit still. Add to that, we've got the next of the trace rifles, the Prometheus Lens. They've increased the magazine size to 100 rounds. Good change. It deals more area damage and less beam damage, and they've increased the precision modifier to 1.4x as well. Out of that, we got the Fighting Lion. This deals more blast damage and less direct hit damage. They've increased the ammo inventory, increased the spawn ammo, and kills with this weapon will guarantee energy ammo drops. We got to see a bit of that in the previous livestream where they showed it off during PvP. Next up, we've got power weapon changes. For Tractor Cannon, the weapon damage now suppresses targets. It has the same effect as a suppression grenade from a Sentinel Titan. And now weapon damage now makes a target more susceptible to void damage, plus 50% for 10 seconds. Huge change for the Tractor Cannon. For Darcy, they've reduced flinch, reduced zoom on scope, increased precision damage to locked on targets up to 4x, and increased overall aim assist. For the Borealis, they've reduced the flinch, and after breaking the shield of an enemy, a combatant, or a guardian using a super, with the matching elemental damage type, it deals double damage for the remainder of the magazine. This is another effect we got a great clip of in previous weeks. Basically, if you match up the damage on Borealis, this is the sniper rifle that you can change the element on by holding the reload key. If, say, you're going up against an enemy with a solar shield, or if it's a Sunbreaker Titan in PvP, who's in their super, if you use solar on them, boom, the gun's suddenly going to get double damage on follow-up shots after you've broken those shields. Alright, next up we've got the Prospector. Grenades now stick to surfaces, and grenades now cause burn damage over time. Ooh, burn damage over time. It's Thorn in a grenade launcher. I'll take it. Next up we've got some weapon perk changes. First up, Pulse Monitor is going to be seeing a change. It now reloads 35% of the magazine rather than the 17.5% of the magazine it previously reloaded. That's a pretty big change. And now it can activate while the weapon is not equipped. That's huge. Being able to get that ammo back even while you don't have the weapon currently equipped, that's a pretty big change for it. Next up, Precision Frame is seeing a change. They fixed an issue that was causing inconsistent recoil reduction on precision category weapons, and for lightweight grenade launchers, they've adjusted the breach load grenade launcher so that they can fire sooner out of a reload and fire sooner out of a sprint cancel. So you'll have to do less time readying your weapon and reloading your weapon before you can actually just drop a grenade on people. Alright, for legendary weapons, for precision hand cannons, they've adjusted the ADS firing animation, and for linear fusion rifles, they've increased precision damage modifier to 2x. Hopefully putting it into a bit more competition there with some of the sniper rifles. Alright, now we've got some changes coming to the activity sandbox. For PvE, there's changes to outgoing player damage scaling versus higher level combatants. We knew about this. They're going to be making enemies that are a higher level than you out in the PvE environment hit harder. Higher level combatants take longer to kill if you're below their level. They've increased the outgoing and incoming damage scaling from capping at a 40 power level delta to a 50 power level delta. Over-leveled combatants continue to increase in difficulty up to 50 power levels above the player, and when enemies are 50 power levels or higher above a player, they'll be immune to all damage. This might call to mind, remember some of the enemies back in D1 when they were so much higher above you, their level would just show up as a couple of question marks and you couldn't really do anything to them. Think the Celebrant of Oryx back in the Cosmodrome. They've also updated the damage dealt to combatant energy shields from the following weapon damage types: 3 times damage from energy weapons of a matching damage type, 2 times damage from energy weapons of a non-matching damage type, and no bonus damage from kinetic weapons. So you're really going to want to use energy weapons, especially matching energy weapons, to pop shields from now on. Alright, for strikes, heroic strikes now feature rotating modifiers. At any given time, the following will be active on the heroic strikes playlist: 1 elemental burn on a weekly rotation, 1 advantage modifier on a daily rotation, and 1 disadvantage modifier on a daily rotation. That means we've got 2 modifiers that are going to be changing daily and 1 burn that's going to be changing weekly. I kind of like that. It's going to kind of incentivize you to come into the strike playlist every single day to see what's going to be happening there. In addition to the above, the baseline difficulty of heroic strikes is boosted to be closer to Nightfall difficulty. Ooh! Man, heroic strikes aren't going to be the casual playlist for you to just go in and enjoy your time in anymore. Oh well, let's move on. We've now got a legendary Nightfall Strike challenge card. This can be obtained from Xur at no cost by replacing your rare challenge card, and the legendary tier adds additional slots for new advantages and disadvantages. Next up, they fixed an issue in which scoring did not add points for killing the bosses in the Nightfall Strike's A Garden World or Savathun's Song. They fixed an issue where Nightfall score summary was only displaying kills since last death, and some other fixes like the game now displays the score for the entirety of the strike upon activity completion, and they fixed an issue in which the Unbroken challenge completed for all fireteam members even if the clear criteria had not been met, so people had died all throughout the strike. That's what that basically means. Finally, they fixed an issue where strike scoring granted points for players in public bubbles, lost sectors, and other unintended areas. If you're somebody who's been cheesing your Nightfall scores by using lost sectors, by using any sort of instance zone, that's no longer going to be a thing according to these patch notes. For the raid, weekly lockouts for raid rewards are now class-based, and players running multiple instances of the same class will receive rewards only the first time they run the raid in a week. I talked about this on the TWAB last week. I'm not a fan of this. If somebody wants to have 3 hunters, if they want to run 3 hunters on their Destiny 2 account, I don't think you should punish them by only rewarding them for 1 raid run a week. I understand why they're doing this. This is to cut down on people running the same class 3 times in order to kind of power level that class up to max power, like really quick, way quicker than they're supposed to. But at the same time, if you're going to put in the effort to run this stuff on 3 of the same characters and still run that content, I think you should be rewarded for it. Not a fan of that. Anyways, the Tower. Seasonal ranks are now available for the Vanguard, Crucible, Trials of the Nine, and Iron Banner. They've increased the vault size from 200 items to 300 items, and they fixed an issue with collections where event emblems would not show up unless players owned Curse of Osiris. They've also fixed an issue where Cade 6 refused to offer all 3 treasure maps for Mercury. Yay, so we can go back to Mercury. Next up are changes to the items in the economy. In general, milestones now award a more balanced distribution of exotics between weapons and armor, but overall they award exotics less often than before. Trying to make those a little bit rarer. Might be a little bit too late in my opinion. They fixed an issue where powerful engrams could not draw from exotics released at Destiny 2's launch. They've also fixed an issue where the first powerful engram opened after each sign-in was guaranteed to produce an exotic. I didn't know that was a thing. They fixed an issue with slow load times for uncommon gear, and mods and shaders can now be dismantled from the item detail screen. Whew, thank you. But also, items can now be dismantled from the Postmaster and from the Vault. Hallelujah! 4 years in and we finally break through and get the ability to dismantle stuff directly from Postmaster. It's going to be a good day of gaming once I'm done with this. Next up, the Season 2 exotic ghost shells that use destination perks now have a chance to have Hellas Basin destination perks when initially awarded. This is just to, take into account the fact that Mars is now available as a play zone in D2. Next up, character inventory changes. They've created a pursuits category in the character inventory to contain pursuit tracking items, such as those associated with exotic quests. If you have had that silly stinking quest scroll for the Legend of Acrius quest in your inventory since the game came out, hallelujah, you finally got that spot back. That should be moved into the pursuit category. Also, items in the pursuit category are specific to each character and not shared across the account. Eververse changes are next. Players now may receive 1 bright engram per character, a count limit of 3 from Tess for the seasonal milestone. They've increased the number of items available for purchase via Bright Dust from 14 to 18, and additional slots will feature shaders and transmat effects. They fixed an issue where players could purchase bundles or engrams when their inventory or postmaster were full, and they've also fixed an issue where items were awarded from Eververse Gleaming Booms would not display the correct icon within the postmaster. Next, they've added, of course, the new system, the Prismatic Matrix, to Eververse. At launch, 10 Eververse items from Season 3 are featured each week that the Prismatic Matrix is available. An account's first well-rested level up each week will grant you 1 Prismatic Facet, which allows 1 free use of the Prismatic Matrix, and players may hold up to 3 of those facets at a time. Additional activations can be purchased for 200 silver each. It looks like there might not be a way to actually earn more Prismatic Facets in-game. Not too big a fan of that. But this item inventory is based on a knockout list and will not drop duplicates. It means the stuff that you're getting from the Prismatic Matrix, as long as you're getting Prismatic Facets and knocking some of that stuff out, you're guaranteed to hopefully not get any duplicates from that Matrix. So it's giving you, I guess, a little bit more control over the items you're getting from Eververse. Finally, items earned via Bright Engrams, Bright Dust, or previous Matrix activations will contribute to the knockout list. The stuff you're getting from Bright Engrams and whatnot will also check itself off of the Prismatic Matrix, so you won't get a duplicate there. Next up, some changes coming to clans. For progression, a new set of clan perks is available for you to earn in Season 3. A new clan banner staff has been rewarded to those who hit clan rank 6 in Season 2. And for clan engrams, Trials of the Nine and Raid clan engrams no longer grant Trials of the Nine or Raid weapons. These now grant Crucible and Vanguard rewards. That's actually kind of a big change. One of the complaints from more hardcore players has been that clan engrams giving Raid and Trials weapon, that's supposed to be in-game stuff, and it just comes a bit too easily, so that's not going to be a thing anymore. Hopefully you got your Darkest Before from your clan engram before now, because you're no longer going to be getting that in-game stuff from clan engrams. They also no longer grant rewards above the player's level when reaching 340 power, although the Nightfall and Crucible clan engrams will grant rewards up to 340 power. Next up, we've got changes to guided games. We've got a new set of guided games tickets that have been granted to all players, and players can earn a Leviathan guide emblem that tracks the number of raid encounters and raids they complete as a guide. The emblem rewards an aura for 14 days when completing a raid as a guide, and once a week while the aura is active, guiding a raid to completion will grant you a bright engram. They could probably do a bit better on some of the rewards there for guided games, since not a lot of people use it. Next up, changes coming to Crucible. In general, private matches are now available to all players. Players have to own Curse of Osiris or Warmind to play maps from those respective releases in private matches only. They've added a new Crucible ranking system, and of course they've added Fireteam matching system, so hopefully if you're a solo player you don't get put up against a 4 or a 6 stack so much anymore. For maps, Curse of Osiris and Warmind maps are now available to all players in match-made Crucible playlists. We've got new Warmind maps in Meltdown and Solitude, and they've added spawn points to Altar of Flame, the Dead Cliffs, and Endless Vale. They've also added kill volumes to the Burnout to prevent players from escaping the intended playable space, and fixed a cinematic camera point on Dead Cliffs for 6v6. Finally, they've added doubles to the weekly rotating playlist, so for those of you who miss it from Crimson Doubles, it's coming back. Out of that, we've got some quick changes to audio and PC, and just some quick stuff. I'll let you guys figure that on your own, and of course some UI changes. And that is it! That's the end of the patch notes for update 1.2.0. There's a lot of huge changes in this, and by the time you guys are watching this video, the update itself, Warmind, should be live, so hopefully you are just knee-deep in the waters, playing in the new environment, getting some of the new weapons, and getting through the Warmind story. But that is going to be it for this quick, or not so quick, wrap-up of the patch notes for Destiny Update 1.2.0, the one for Warmind. Be sure to let us know what you all think of these changes down in the comment section below. Have you had a chance to play Warmind yet? If not, what are you doing sitting here listening to me for like 20 minutes for? Get going, get in there, enjoy it, experience it, and let us know how you feel about the DLC. But anyways, I'm out for now. I gotta go get ready to do the reset vid and all of the other stuff that we're gonna have to cover for the DLC. Thank you all so much for watching. As always, I am the Black Link. You Guardians, stay frosty.